Good morning. It's almost 4 a.m. Love these Mega Drive Mini 2 live stream events happening so early because they happen at night in Japan. Anyway, we've got Wave 3 of Mega Drive Mini 2 announcements to look forward to. I am a little intrigued to see if they're going to repeat Alien Soldier in here, since Treasure kind of let that out of the bag early. So we might not get 11 new games this time, but 9 or 10. We'll have to see. We also have Sega of America announcing the Genesis 2 Mini, which I will talk about in more detail in this week's Levels Plus Weekly, because I'm going to preempt the Dual Life Perspective video to talk about the Mega Drive 2 Mini, because that's what is really catching my attention this week, with a whole bunch of news about it. But as you can see by the countdown, there's about another 8 minutes or so. So I'm going to finish getting prepped, and I will see you once we actually get broadcasting. Alright, we have started. Before I pause and get to the next announcement, this is 4gamer.net who is broadcasting this, so kudos to them for working with Sega on the next series of announcements. And we'll be back when they actually get to some games. Alright, here we go. So they're doing the same board format that they did last time. And here we start with Alien Soldier, which, like I said at the top, Treasure already revealed for everybody. But I'm not surprised to see it included here. So we might get 11 again, just with one game we already knew about in advance. I did try this game when it came out on the Switch Online app, and it's really cool. It really shows off Treasure's skills in making games like this, but it is just one that I don't fully understand how to play effectively. But it's neat. That character makes me laugh. Wow, how did that not become a GIF? Yeah, this definitely shows off Treasure's chops very, very well. Oh, that looks so cool. Like, just the dramatic pause. Yeah, there's a lot more to this game than I realized. I didn't realize it had so many diverse backgrounds and such. I guess I've only really seen screenshots from that first area. Yeah, there's definitely some 7 Force inspiration with this boss. Which makes sense. They made that game too. Game number 2 is Tatsujin by Toaplan. This is supposedly a really good port of this game. I do have it on my Taito Egret in its arcade form, but from what I recollect of playing that to playing this, other than a little bit of scaling, because this looks a little bit more zoomed in, it looks pretty dang good. And this game was fun. I enjoyed playing it. This might be one of Toaplan's better games that I have played so far. So this is a welcome addition. Number 3 is a CD game. Final Fight CD. I called that one. Yes. And it's a good call, because there isn't a whole lot of Capcom exclusive stuff to the Mega Drive that we could safely say would be a guaranteed bet. And arguably this is the definitive version of a home port of this game. In the early era, it had all 3 characters. If my memory serves me, Poison and Roxy were not taken out. It has Red Book audio, so it's the closest to matching the original arcade sound. And it also confirms that Capcom's on this thing, which isn't a surprise. Although, to be honest, there isn't too much more that they could add. Unless they did some more arcade ports. But we already got Ghouls and Ghosts, Strider, and Street Fighter II Champion Edition on the original Mega Drive Mini. But this was a good call. This is one that I figured would be on here if Capcom was going to be involved in some way. And it's also the least compromised, because like there was a bunch of enemies on screen and it didn't look like it was slowing down at all. And it's nice seeing Cody and Guy in a home version of this game at this period of time, to be completely honest. And there's a time attack feature that apparently is unique to this edition. That's a very long name. Oh, there's Super. So Super Street Fighter 2 is also on here. I also guessed this one, because if Capcom was going to be on here, there wasn't too much else left. Unless we get into more of Sega's ports of their games. And in terms of fighting game choices, there's not much that's not hyper-violent that they could pick. We know that this is rated T for teen in the United States, so I doubt they're going to throw Eternal Champion CD on the Mega Drive Mini 2 and not put it on the Genesis 2 Mini, especially since that was an American enterprise. And I doubt the Mortal Kombats will show up. So yeah, those are both good calls. Alright, game number 5. There's another game with a 2 in it. And it's... Wow, they're working with S&K on this one. I did not expect them to bring the S&K ports, but here's Fatal Fury 2. I don't really know how good this turned out in contrast to the original Neo Geo game or the Super Nintendo game. It doesn't look terrible. Let's actually watch them play a little bit. So Fatal Fury 2 has 8 characters plus 4 bosses, and it looks like in Versus mode at least you get to play as the bosses, which is nice. It definitely is not as clean as the Neo Geo, but it's colorful. And they are certainly putting in an effort with the backgrounds. And yeah, it's not animated quite as well, but you do still have the lane system, so you can go back and forth. And it doesn't look bad. It's just a little bit compromised, much like Super Street Fighter 2 is. Honestly, I think this game looks a little bit better than Super Street Fighter 2 does. One last thing, they did have the dynamic backgrounds change, which is cool. Alright, number 6. this looks distinctly Japanese, so let's see what this could be. All of the games shown up to this point, not including this one, definitely look like they could be on the Genesis 2 Mini. This one, on the other hand, looks like it's some sort of sumo-related game, so it probably would not. So yeah, this is a sumo wrestling game. I have no familiarity with this whatsoever. It looks nice. It definitely has some nice sprite work. Background is a little static, but it's detailed. There's a lot of people back there. Animations look good, and it's a goofy. So this could be fun to try out. Alright, game 7. It's a really long name. Well, I am not immediately recognizing this. Looks like it could be another licensed game. See, that sumo game will not be coming out here, and I suspect this one will not either. Oh, it's a Majeang game. Okay, that makes sense. Alright, number 8. We'll see if the licensed streak is going to continue, or they're going to take a little break from that. Lunar! Yes! This is what I was hoping to see. Lunar the Silver Star. Incredible. I was hoping with Shiplead, or however you pronounce that Game Arts would be on board to bring these over as well. And I am so glad that they did. The question now, really, is will they be on the Genesis 2 Mini? Will they work that out with working designs? Since they don't exist, and Victor Ireland, the founder, has kind of disappeared. That's the question. I mean, Konami managed to work that out to get some working designs ports onto the TurboGrafx 16 Mini, but I really don't know if that was more Taito still had the rights to all of that and they just had to use the working designs box art, or what, to make that happen. But this is definitely got to work with working designs for the localization because there's so many words, and Popful Mail is in the same boat. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. But I am so glad that this is here. That probably means that the sequel is here as well. Eternal Blue, we'll have to wait to see. But I had been hoping that this is the case, and I'm just super pleased. Incredibly pleased this is here. Alright, and so is Eternal Blue, because I can read Japanese that well. Hell yeah. Incredible. They got both the Lunar games. That was pipe dream wish list material for me when they announced this system. And both the games are solid. So I'm excited. I am super excited that these are here. Since I'm getting the import version, I don't really know how that's going to work in terms of translation. My understanding is that you can switch the language of this like you can with the original Genesis Mini. So that way it does, if the game's there, it matches the localization of where it was. It didn't change the roster of games, mind. But if it was on the Japanese and the English side of things, it would have both. I don't know if they're going to do that for Popful Mail and Lunar, though. So that's going to be really interesting to see how they handle that. But these coming back are huge. This is a monumental deal, in my opinion, for the Lunar games, and Popful Mail for that matter, to be on this, because they're games that I think people just kind of assumed were in localization hell or licensing hell, because Game Arts is owned by Gung Ho Entertainment at this point, and there hasn't been a whole lot of interest in Lunar since like the PSP. And localizing those games has just bounced around to a bunch of different companies over the years. So it's going to be interesting to see how Sega of America responds to the Lunar game news, because if they just are silent and they don't bring them over, that's going to really hurt that mini console chances to succeed. And a lot of people will probably be importing this thing now just because of these two games being here. I jumped on it when I saw Popful Mail in the hopes that these would be there, and they are, and I'm so stoked. Check out this cool art. Just wanted to share that. Looks like it's brand new art for this game. These games, I should say. I should be pluralizing. They've been showing off some art that they're going to be giving away for the licensed games, but it looks like this is going to be among them too, maybe? Super cool. Alright, in game number 10. I don't know how they're going to follow up the Lunar games. Wondermega Collection Game Garden. Okay. I have no idea what this is. Got a bunch of random Sega games, it seems. So I saw Flicky. So I guess that's one way to get Flicky on here. So it looks like this is just a bundle of 4 games on the Sega CD. Because clearly this is not Genesis if it's running an FMV like that. And it's literally a quiz. So this will be very much a game that I will probably not play, at least that mode. But here's Flicky, which was on the Genesis, and I guess it's a convenient way of getting this onto the thing without giving it an entire slot. And Flicky's a pretty fun, mappy-like game with its own charms. And then Pyramid Magic. And it looks like it's a bit of a block puzzle moving type of game. But your character is taller than the usual. Interesting. As well as the sequel. And the next sequel. And the next sequel. Now I'm confused. Apparently there's 4 Pyramid Magic games on here. And then there's Paddle Fighter, which looks like it's a space-oriented air hockey type of game. Based on the little screenshot, yeah. So I'm guessing that a couple of these games just came out in Japan and didn't come out in America. Because Flicky is the only one that I know that came out in America, and I've heard of Pyramid Magic before. But it would definitely make sense for this to come out to collect all of those games in one than to give them 4 separate slots, or how many Pyramid Magic games there were. So that's kind of neat. Alright, and we're getting a bonus game. So what's the bonus for this round? Tricycle Son. This is cute, little maze game. And you get to bump enemies on the girders. That's kind of cute. I'm sure I'll find out a little bit later how this all works. Okay, so there's actually like a completely different gameplay perspective as well, and you want to avoid what looks like softballs. Interesting. Cool looking game. Alright, and here's the trailer for Wave 3. Which I'm going to say is probably the most hype group of games yet. There's a couple that are distinctly Japanese. The Sumo game that I don't remember the name of, and the Majeang game, obviously. But the fact that Final Fight CD, Super Street Fighter 2, Tatsujin, Alien Soldier, Fatal Fury 2 out of nowhere, the 2 Lunar games, of course, and the really cool looking bonus game, which apparently M2 made a while ago and just didn't know what to do with it. They probably made it for one of the 3D Classics things or something like that, and they just didn't know what to do with it. But here it is, hanging out on this little guy. And then getting a really interesting collection of Genesis games as well. In the Wondermega Collection, which apparently was a Victor-developed hybrid console that included both the Sega's, the Mega CD and the Mega Drive together as one thing. Very solid. The fact that Victor also is involved even tangibly, I mean that Kaio Flying Squadron, which they published, has a chance of making it on here, because we've still got 20 plus more games to announce for this thing. And I imagine they will announce something at the end of this about the next date. But overall, this was a fantastic thing. It was definitely worth waking up this early to find out about the Lunar games. And I actually got some of my predictions right on this one. I got 4, which I'm very pleased by. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and end this reaction here, since it's already about a half an hour. So, until next time, my dear friends, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon.